Principle of radical transparency, Ray describes as, quote, "By radical transparency, I mean giving most everyone the ability to see most everything," unquote. So in free market capitalism, we have three cornerstones, which we mentioned earlier. We have rule of law, which gives us a means of nonviolent dispute resolution. We have private property rights, which gives us respect for the relationships between people and assets. And we have hard money, which gives us a free market selected money and an accurate conveyor of price signals. So with strong and reliable rules in place, entrepreneurs are then free to play the game, so to speak, accumulating capital for themselves and diffusing any innovations gleaned in the process into the whole of society through trade. So an analogy here is like if you imagine a poker player sitting at a table, if the hand rankings changed every few hands at the whims of the casino, without sound rules on which to build a strategy, no player would remain engaged for long and they would quickly exit the game. So we have kind of a similar problem today with centrally planned money. The problem with the perceived safety of the US dollar is the opacity of the rules which govern its existence, including how many dollars are there in existence, as you asked earlier, how many will be issued in the years to come, who gets to decide, what are their criteria for deciding, and most importantly, who stands to profit from their production, right? So even though the US dollar today is really just an SQL database maintained at the Federal Reserve, they could choose to open its records to audit, they refuse, right? To counterbalance this opacity, and we touched a little bit on this earlier, there's an army of macroeconomists, analysts, and market commentators poring over every detail of the statements issued by central bankers, including not only their words, their tone, delivery, and even their wardrobes. So to understand how absurd this is, imagine if a semi-governmental agency was put in charge of setting prices for automobiles. Ask any free market capitalist if this seems like a good idea, and he will spew vitriol at you for even suggesting such a socialistic method of managing prices for automobiles. Any true capitalist will tell you that only the market should determine prices at the intersection of supply and demand. But then, very smoothly point out to them that the Fed sets the pricing of the US dollar, which is the interest rate, which is the United States' most valuable export market, and does so based on undisclosed criteria and closed-door discussions. Indeed, fiat currency is antithetical to free market capitalism. It is monetary socialism. I like to say that in markets, sunlight is the best disinfectant. When everyone can see the criteria and process behind a decision, they are more likely to deem it trustworthy. With Bitcoin, the algorithm which sets its money supply is totally transparent, meaning people can universally agree that the system is fair and unbiased. As an open source monetary protocol, Bitcoin is essentially the principle of radical transparency in perpetual action. And bankers hate this because Bitcoin basically automates the functions of a central bank, which are maintaining money supplies or monetary policy, reaching consensus as to account balances, and facilitating international value flows. This transparency in money also gives us the restoration of strong property rights in money. Few people realize that monetary inflation is a direct violation of property rights. Crazily, this is a legally enforced injustice, right? We're talking about the cornerstone of capitalism that's legally enforced that we're breaking. It's legalized counterfeiting is what inflation is. Printing money is like amending the list of who owns what, since money can be used to obtain anything in the market, and a corruption of the private property rights intrinsic to capitalism itself. So Bitcoin, as an answer to this, is an uninflatable, confiscation-resistant, free market-based money. This provides its users with stronger property rights than inflatable, confiscatable, and deauthorizable fiat currencies. So in this sense, Bitcoin is the purely transparent alternative to the opacity of central banking. It is a beacon of light outcompeting an industry purposefully shrouded in darkness. Once properly understood, Bitcoin's superior visibility inescapably enhances its believability. As you've said, Ray, quote, "Having nothing to hide relieves stress and builds trust," unquote. Transparency and reliability are the essence of Bitcoin's utility as money. So how do you not believe in Bitcoin, right? And it's truly unique in that its supply is absolutely predictable and absolutely scarce. So in this sense, Bitcoin is the most credible monetary policy in human history, outcompeting the least trustworthy monetary policies in human history. So Bitcoin's rapidly gaining a track record superior to central banks across all dimensions: reliability, predictability, auditability, cost effectiveness, and resistance to censorship or manipulation. It is thereby further eroding the believability of central bankers, which is in shorter supply with every dollar printed.